Hello, and welcome to the Essex Free Library Storytime. My name is Miss Noreen, and today I'll be doing storytime for learning at home. The past few months, we've been talking about our five senses. So let's review what we've done so far. We have done, what is it? Yeah, that's right, sight. Sight's one of our senses. We've done another one. See if you can tell me what it is. If you guessed hearing with your ears, you are correct. Another one we did last month was taste. That's right, with our tongue. It's kind of yummy stuff, right? We hope. And the one we're doing today, sense number 4, is our sense of, did you guess smell? That would be right, with our noses. So my first story today is called The Ugly Vegetables by Grace Lynn. It is published by Charles Bridge. The thing I want you to realize about this story is that in the story, the child talks about or uses her five senses. And I want you to think about that as I read the story. The main one we're going to talk about today is the sense of smell. So see if you recognize when they're smelling in this story. It's a pretty interesting story. So here she is. In the spring, I helped my mother start our garden. We used tall shovels to turn the grass upside down, and I saw pink worms wiggle around. It was hard work. When we stopped to rest, we saw that our neighbors were planting their gardens too. You see her neighbor way back there? Yeah. Hello, Irma, my mother called to Mrs. Coumarine. Mrs. Coumarine was digging too. She was using a small shovel, one that fit in her hand. Mommy, I asked, why are we using such big shovels? Mrs. Coumarine has a small one. Because our garden needs much more digging, she said. Do you see her small shovel there in her hand? Yeah. I helped my mother plant the seeds. We dragged the hose to the garden. Hi, Linda. Hi, Mickey, I called to the Fitzgeralds. They were sprinkling water on their garden with green watering cans. Mommy, I asked, why are we using a hose? Linda and Mickey use watering cans. Because our garden needs more water, Mommy said. Do you see their watering cans? Then my mother drew funny pictures on pieces of paper, and I stuck them into the garden. Hello, Roseanne, my mother called across the street to Mrs. Angel Howe. Mommy, I asked, why are we sticking these papers in the garden? Mrs. Angel Howe has seed packages in her garden. Because our garden is going to grow Chinese vegetables, she told me. These are the names of the vegetables in Chinese, so I can tell which plants are growing where. One day I saw our garden growing. Little green stems that looked like grass popped out from the ground. Our garden is growing, I yelled. Our garden is growing. I rushed over to the neighbors' gardens to see if theirs had grown. Their plants looked like little leaves. Mommy, I asked, why do our plants look like grass? The neighbors' plants look different. Because they are growing flowers, she said. Why can't we grow flowers? These are better than flowers, she said. Soon all the neighbors' gardens were blooming. Up and down the street grew rainbows of flowers. The wind always smelled sweet, and butterflies and bees flew everywhere. Everyone's garden was beautiful except ours. What do you think? Do you think their garden's beautiful? Our garden was all dark and ugly. Why didn't we grow flowers? I asked again. These are better than flowers, Mommy said again. I looked, but I only saw black, purple, green vines, fuzzy, wrinkled leaves, prickly stems, and a few little yellow flowers. I don't think so, I said. You wait and see, said Mommy. Before long, our vegetables grew. Some were big and lumpy. Some were thin and green and covered with bumps. Some were just plain icky, yellow. They were ugly vegetables. Sometimes I would go over to the neighbors and look at their pretty gardens. They would show the poppies and peonies and petunias to me, and I would feel sad that our garden wasn't as nice. One day, my mother and I picked the vegetables from the garden. We filled a whole wheelbarrow full of them. We wheeled them to the kitchen. My mother washed them, took a big knife, and started to chop them. Ay-yow, she said when she cut them. She had to use all her muscles. The vegetables were hard and tough. This is shou hong gua, said Mommy, handing me a bumpy, curled vegetable. She pointed at the other vegetables. This is shang zai, and this is tung hao. I went outside to play. While I was playing catch with Mickey, a magical aroma filled the air. Aroma is something you smell. I saw the neighbors standing on their porches with their eyes closed, smelling the sky. Everybody take a deep breath. They took deep breaths of air like they were trying to eat the smell. Take one more breath. The wind carried it up and down the street. Even the bees and the butterflies seemed to smell the scent in the breeze. I smelled it too. It made me hungry, and it was coming from my house. When I followed the smell to my house, my mother was putting a big bowl of soup on the table. The soup was yellow and red and green and pink. This is special soup, Mommy said, and she smiled. She gave me a small bowl full of it, and I tasted it. Oh, it was so good. The flavors of the soup seemed to dance in my mouth and laugh all the way down to my tummy. I smiled. Do you like it? Mommy asked me. I nodded and held out my bowl for some more. It's made from our vegetables from our garden, she told me. Then the doorbell rang, and we ran to answer the door. Doesn't that soup look good? All our neighbors were standing at the door holding flowers. We noticed you were cooking, Mr. Fitzgerald laughed as he held out his flowers. We thought maybe you might be interested in a trade. We laughed too, and my mother gave them each their own bowl of her special soup. My mother told them what each vegetable was and how she grew it. She gave them the soup recipe and put some soup into jars for them to take home. I ate 5 bowls of soup. It was the best dinner ever. Isn't that a good story? Did you find out the smells a lot? And what smelled the best? That's right, the soup. I have another book for you. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I want you to know it's here at our library and you can take it out. And it's called Eek, You Reek. You know what reek means? It means smelly and stinky. Poems about animals that stink, stank, stunk by Jane Yolen and Heidi Stempel, illustrated by Eugenia Novati. Published by Millbrooks Press. And I picked one poem, and it's about an animal that's smelly. It's black and white. Can you think of what it could be? Did you guess a skunk? I'm going to read the poem, see if I can do it without messing it up. If you startle a skunk, it can spray a big stink, a great stench that can linger a day. It stomps its front feet just to warn, lifts its tail, and will blast anything in its way. Some folk think that baths in the juice of tomato will wash away all of the smell, and still others say that vanilla or soap or a mouthwash will do just as well. But the skunk doesn't care. It just wants you long gone, and that spray is its way to go free. So remember, if skunks have moved onto your land, please do not send them to me. I hope you never run into a stinky, stinky skunk. Another book I want to just talk to you about. I'm not going to read the whole thing either, but there's some smelly stuff in here too. Did you ever read this story, The Dinky Donkey? I'm going to read to you the page about the stinky donkey. And again, you can take this out from the library here. The wonky donkey had a child. It was a little girl. Hee-haw! She was so cute and small. She had beautiful long eyelashes. She loved to listen to rowdy music. She painted her hooves bright pink. She had to go pee-pee. She loved to play the piano, and she wore wild sunglasses. And she smelt just as bad as her dad. She was a stinky, flunky, plinky, plonky, winky, tinky, inky, pinky, punky, blinky, dinky, donkey. See if you can find this story at our library. So I want to tell you what you can get at our library this week. There's a smell activity bag. It has a nose on it. And in it are a few things for you to do about smell. One of them is a picture from the story that we read. And from that story, this is for your mom and dad, is the recipe for the soup. Good luck finding the vegetables. I wanted to find some to show you today, but I had a hard time. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to smell the flowers. All the parts are in this bag, and there's a lot of them. And this is what we're going to make. There's stems, and there's leaves, and there's flowers, and you can kind of color them in if you want. And then in each bag, there's going to be a cotton ball that has a special smell. And it's already going to be on there. I put the smell on for you, so you can smell the flowers. See if you can identify the smells. Maybe have your parents figure it out, or your brother or sister. See what you can do. Well, thank you for coming today. I'm going to end with a joke because Valentine's Day is coming soon. So I'm going to have a couple riddles for you. What did the elephant say to his girlfriend on Valentine's Day? Remember, elephants are big. I love you a ton. And here's the last one. Why were the two fish so happy at the bottom of the sea? Bottom of the sea. They were deeply in love. Well, thank you for coming today. I hope you're having a wonderful time and a good week and staying warm and enjoying some sliding. Have a good day. Bye-bye.